We are back at Super Bowl 57 Radio Row, and it is a pleasure to welcome our good friend Devon Kennard. Devon, welcome to the show. Welcome to Super Bowl 57. We're from Kansas City, so this is a kind of a business trip for us, but we're having fun too. We're trying.
I didn't realize you guys were from Kansas City. You guys have some of the best barbecue in the world. I own some real estate properties out in Kansas City, and every time I go, I stay in like the quarter and gotta hit the barbecue spots, Q9 and
yes.
Jack Stack. I mean, is that why you own the real estate there for the barbecue?
I always heard about it, and once I went out there, I went on a tour. Every time I go, I try to go to at least one. I don't know how you guys aren't fat though. Like the burnt.
Well, we live in the suburbs. It's not as good up there.
Okay. I was gonna say the burnt ends are unbelievable. The baked beans, everything. I'm like. I feel like I'm 5 pounds. Yeah, I feel like I'm 5 pounds heavier every time I leave.
Yeah, we didn't get you to play in Kansas City enough. When you were with the Giants, you were with the Cardinals. Did you ever play at Arrowhead Stadium? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Did you ever play at Arrowhead?
I have earlier in my career.
Okay, I was trying to think with the Giants early on, maybe in. Yeah, I don't think you were there in like 13. And then we played with Eli Manning, but I don't think you were on the team yet. In 13, you were 14. You were a rookie.
Rookie, yeah.
So.
You know what? I don't think I've ever actually played there.
Yeah, that's crazy to think of a 9-year career.
And never, that's one stadium I've never played in.
Well, it is certainly a pleasure to have you here. You're currently a free agent. So what's the plan going forward? You're 9 years in the league. That's a lot. I mean, 3 years is the kind of the life expectancy.
Right.
And what's the next step? Are you talking to teams? The process is about to really start in March, of course.
Right.
So what are you kind of looking for going forward here?
I'm in a place where it has to be the right opportunity and the right situation. I definitely want to play at least one more year because I've always wanted to hit 10 plus.
Yes.
I feel like being at 9. I have no problem with it, but if I can hit 10, that's a special number. So that's kind of the goals and intentions, but I'm also in a place where it has to be the right situation, financially and opportunity to win. I don't want to just play just to play. I want an opportunity to win, and it has to, make sense for me and my family. I got 2 young girls at home.
Well, we got this team here in Kansas City. If you want to do any winning, Kansas City Chiefs back in the Super Bowl, my friend.
Let me shout out Spags.
He's your head coach.
He used to be my D coordinator in New York, so come and get me, and let's go back to the Super Bowl next year.
I love that.
You also were with the Arizona Cardinals, and a good friend of ours, Brenston Buckner, was the defensive line coach there during, I think, your first 2 years there with the Cardinals. Talk a little bit about Brenston Buckner. I think maybe the best defensive line coach in the game.
Yeah, he's probably the best defensive line coach. I'll say it would be a sight to see his third down game plan meetings when he's putting together the rush plan. It was pretty amazing, and he's a great coach. I think he's up in Jacksonville now, and he had those guys playing well.
Yeah, so Devon, I mean, we got to talk about this because you, as the modern day athlete, you kind of have to be a Renaissance man. The days of just going out there and crushing skulls on the gridiron, and then calling it a career, and maybe becoming a coach, or there's very few options. But you've been able to diversify yourself. You're kind of the hot topic of the day is philanthropist. You're definitely that. You have a book coming out. It's called It All Adds Up. You can grab that here. I can show it to the camera. It all adds up. That's a good shot of you there.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Designing your game plan for financial success. Now, Noah and I haven't really developed a game plan for financial success. We're here at the Super Bowl. That's kind of enough for us. We've always wanted to live our dream of being sports broadcasters. We're here. The money we hope will come later. But how did you kind of get involved in this financial game, and just take us through the process of this book and how it all began?
Yeah, so I've been blessed enough to be in a position where I'm a second generation NFL player, but I got to see my dad's life post football, and it really kind of rang to me to where hearing stories and people talk differently about what their life is like after the game, I always wanted to make sure I put myself in a position to where I can be financially secure. And the issue that professional athletes have is they finish playing and they have no more money coming in.
Right.
So even if you made a large sum of money, that money has to sustain you for the rest of your life. So I came into the NFL with the mindset of what can I invest in and what are the things I need to learn about finances, so I'm living my best life ahead of me once I retire, not behind me. And I took these lessons and what I'm going through now and tried to articulate it in this book to everyone out there, because I feel like it's very unique being a professional athlete talking about financial literacy. And most of the financial literacy gurus out there are older white men,
bald. I don't know. I don't know any of those.
I can feel like I can reach a different demographic and have a different outreach than a lot of people with my background, and it's a strong interest of me. So it's not that I have all the answers or I know everything, but it's to open a dialogue and what I've learned so far, and I want to be able to impact a lot of athletes, but also everyday people and what they should consider doing.
Well, especially you mentioned athletes there. I think this education is needed because you hear about a lot of the horror stories. They think they've made it big. They're in the NFL. They're living this big lifestyle. And then whether it's injury or they just get cut, they don't kind of cut it on a team, then they're out of the league. They're still living that lifestyle. And as you mentioned, the money's not coming in anymore, and they've got to adjust. And a lot of them struggle to adjust and bring their lifestyle down to what they're not making now.
Well, I mean, absolutely. And people ask how that can happen. And when you really think about it, it's not that hard.
No.
You make a couple $1 million, but you buy $1 million house and the mortgage is $6-7 grand a month.
Yep.
You buy a car and it's a really nice car and the car payment is $1,000 or $2,000 a month. Now you need insurance for both. Oh, you bought your mom's house too because you come from a bad area and you wanted to get your mom out of that. So that's enough. So before you spent any money, before you traveled, before you ate a nice dinner, you're spending tens of thousands of dollars, and then you're done playing and now you got no income.
Yep.
Well, guess what? I don't care if you've made millions of dollars up to that point. Every month, that's dwindling down more and more, and that's essentially how guys go broke.
Exactly.
And that's what I want to, help change. And the same goes for in the real world, though, and why it's even for like a person having a 9-to-5 job. Would you not want to have passive income coming in another way? Do you want financial tips and advice of things you could consider doing to put yourself in a better financial standing? So I think these are principles that I've learned through the game of football, but I've built the bridge of how it can connect to people outside of the game and who are regular 9-to-5 workers trying to figure it out.
So you're saying that maybe sports betting is not the key, that maybe things like diversifying,
real estate,
investing, real estate, so this is just all education for us right now. Thank you for the free advice. So maybe no sports betting, and maybe think about things like, you said you have a lot of real estate properties and things like that. I don't know, people use the words to us like 401k. I don't know what that is yet.
Playing the stock market.
Here, I got a great tip for someone. This is what I would do if I had hardly no money. I would earn as much as I can in whatever I'm doing for a living, and I would stash away a nice little emergency account, and then I would start building some money so I can buy one property, and it would be a single family property that I can either rent out with, like, I live in, but I'm renting out a room, or I buy a duplex and I rent out the other unit, because people's biggest expense is where you live typically.
Yeah.
Whether you're renting or owning, your biggest expense is the place you're living. So
Absolutely.
What if you can decrease or eliminate where you're living and the expenses that you're spending, and that is going to propel you so much. That could be $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 that you're keeping in your pocket as opposed to spending. So that's one way people say, like, oh, how does this connect to me? It's called house hacking. How are you in a position where you can house hack and put yourself in a position to where you're living free or for vastly decreased amounts?
Well, it sounds like you have a lot of things going on, but you're also still trying to keep that NFL dream alive. How do you manage your time with all that?
Well, when it comes to like the real estate and the other things that I'm doing, a lot of that's in the off season, and then it's prioritizing and making sure I have a good schedule. So during the football season, I'm focused on football, but I built things out that I'm doing around me to where I can still focus on what I need to focus on. So I think that's really important. People think you can't do things outside of football and the whole like shut up and dribble mindset of like, but there's so many athletes doing other things, and my mindset is structuring it in a way to where you can keep the main thing. Football's always been my priority, and it still is, but instead of playing video games all day, when I'm spending my free time, I was writing this book, and I'm finding out about how to invest in different things. So that's been kind of my mindset.
Well, the book's available. You can get it at Barnes & Noble and really anywhere books are sold, Amazon. It is I think it's a tremendous asset for so many people to have, whether you're just guys like us. We built our own sports media brand from the ground up. from having a little clip mic in our mom's basement trying to do interviews 10 years ago to here at Super Bowl Radio Row. So, there's growth for anyone, whether you're a NFL athlete or someone just trying to kind of forge your own path,
I think you guys are a great example. I mean, 5 years ago or whenever you guys first started, did you imagine being on Radio Row and interviewing NFL players? So where can you guys be in the next? But once you build that momentum, you guys will probably see through what you're doing. Keep the momentum going, because once it gets going, it's hard to stop. And you make the right connections, you do things the right way, you handle relationships the right way, and you start to, it's the compound effect. It's little wins early, and then all of a sudden, 2 turns to 4, 4 turns to 8, 8 turns to 6, and you start doubling. And so I'm excited to see where you guys are at 5 years from now.
Same to you. We're excited to see where you are at, not just financially. Hopefully back in the NFL, hopefully with Spags and this Chiefs defense going to Super Bowl after Super Bowl. You're not on Radio Row. You're prepping for the game, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
You're from here. You're from the Phoenix area, right? So
Tempe, I believe.
Yeah, so you're right from here. So, and then you go to college at USC. So, I have a lot of friends that live in LA. And LA is a place I grew up, visiting a lot. It's how would you say the housing market is there now compared to here in Phoenix? To me, the safer bet is Phoenix. Get away from the ocean, get away from the congestion and the high cost of living. And I would say here would be the place to be now.
Well, let me just say I haven't bought anything in California. It is way
that
too
says it
smart
all.
Smart man.
I'm like, I'll Airbnb a place for a week or two and then get out of Dodge. That place is too expensive. But even Arizona, the market here is pretty expensive too. I told you guys at the beginning, I got a bunch of stuff in Kansas City because I'm buying properties for the low. You guys can get good deals out in Kansas City.
My dad does that. You might be buying rental properties away from him. Thanks, Devon.
So give your dad my number. We might be able to do some business.
Absolutely.
Right. So you went to USC, played for Lane Kiffin. Yeah, he's at Ole Miss now and going to remain there. Lane is a guy that's been around. He's got a reputation, but he set the record straight. I mean, what was it like playing for him? You came off the era of Pete Carroll and Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart at USC, where it was just this free-for-all, la-la land, and still had a lot of success, but it wasn't quite as in the public eye. But Lane Kiffin, my goodness, what an offensive guru. What was it like playing for Lane?
Well, I think you can't say that without starting back. I came in under Coach Carroll, and he sat in my living room. I was the top recruit in the nation with Matt Barkley, and he sat in my living room and promised he was staying at USC.
They all do that.
And I got up my freshman year, and he bounced on me. So every time I play Seattle, I'm like, hey, man, you told me you wasn't leaving. He was like, well, you see why I had to leave.
My seat got a little hot.
Yeah, Reggie Bush still waiting to get that Heisman back.
Yeah, but with Lane, man, he's a great coach. I think the biggest tragedy is while I was at USC, we went 10-2 that one year.
Yeah.
We fell under sanctions, and we were the hottest team at the end of the season. We would have been in a huge bowl game, had national championship contention, but we just couldn't play in anything. And we thought we were going to come back and do the same thing. Matt Barkley came back, all this stuff, and then we laid an egg that last year. So, man, it hurts me because I'm like, what would have happened? What kind of game would we have played in? How could the year have went that year? But it's a forgotten season because we couldn't play in a bowl game. But 10-2 amidst what we were going through, we had less scholarships than all the other teams, and we were going through a really tough time, and we were able to have that year. So around that season, every other season was rough. But I'm like, man, if we could have just played in a bowl game that year, that would have made up for it.
Not that it was easy to play under Pete Carroll or Lane Kiffin, but they're known as kind of players, coaches, and then you go to Tom Coughlin when you're drafted. Talk about the vast differences in Pete Carroll and Lane Kiffin versus Tom Coughlin.
I'll tell you guys a story about Tom Coughlin. So we played the Washington Redskins. I'm a rookie. I was a 5th-round draft pick. Nobody expected me to play and contribute, but I ended up starting majority of my rookie season. We're playing Washington Redskins. I had a great game. I had a sack and a half, a couple of TFLs. I'm feeling good. Well, we had to wear suits to the game, but he made us put them on after the game too. So I'm sore as heck after the game. So I put my suit on, but I don't put the tie. I leave the tie off. I just button it up. You guys, tell me why the next day, my seat was behind his, so I walked past him and I see him look at me. Doesn't say anything. The next day, I have a fine for $2,000, no tie. He fined me $2,000 after probably my best NFL game up to that point because I didn't have a tie on post game. So I think that tells you everything you need to know about how Tom Coughlin got down.
And that's the day you started writing the book. You're taking a $2,000 loss, and you're like, wait a second, this math isn't working out. I'm going to have to figure out how to grow this. And now you've done it. And Devon, this has just been such a pleasure. Have you ever thought about doing your own podcast? I mean, there's shows everywhere, athletes do it. You have such a unique, format here that you could be talking about. Is that ever something you thought about doing?
I have thought about it. I need it has to be the right place at the right time, right situation. But
with us, right here, right now, we're starting the Devon Kennard podcast.
Let's do it. You guys are great. I feel like the chemistry is already.
Yes.
Oh man,
we're on par.
You would be great at setting us straight because I like we were telling Vanessa, like we're not real adults, so this might be it'll either be the funnest interview he does today or the worst. Because we always say we're not real adults.
It's right on the edge there.
We never wanted to have a real job. Like our parents had to push us into do you want to go to college? Do you want to you got to do something.
Want to be a businessman?
I write about people like you in my book. You guys are entrepreneurs. You're figuring this out. You're
Quote unquote.
chasing what you guys love, and you guys are going to kill it because you got the right kind of energy.
Well, before we let you go, Devon, we got to talk a little bit about Super Bowl 57. Get a prediction from you. Hopefully you're leaning towards Spags and the Chiefs. We know what he can do on defense. He did it to the Bengals. The Chiefs were 0-3, and he kind of confused those receivers and Joe Burrow out there.
But you did play in the NFC East, though, so...
You guys, I got to be honest with you because I can't lie to you. I've done a couple of other interviews today, and I've taken the Eagles.
Oh.
I'm sorry. But I've consistently said this. If it becomes a shootout of any kind, it's going completely the other way. If it is a controlled game, I think Philadelphia is going to try to run the ball well.
Run game.
I think they have a pass rush that can disrupt Patrick and all that. But if they don't have a good game plan defensively and it becomes a shootout, if I'm Kansas City, I want to get a lead early.
Yeah.
Philadelphia has not had to deal with that. I don't know if Jalen Hurts can handle coming from behind, orchestrating a comeback win, all of those type of things. So if I'm Kansas City, I'm coming and trying to punch them in the mouth right away. And if it becomes that kind of game where it's score, I'm taking Kansas City all day.
Yeah, the Chiefs don't run away with a lot of games. They play them close. They come from behind. So if it is that kind of game, I feel confident that the Chiefs can. I'd love to see them with a lead. We just haven't seen it much this year.
And that's why I say that. Like if it's close and it's a dogfight, oh man, Philadelphia is built for that right now. So I think Kansas City needs to come out with the mindset of let's go get after these guys.
Yeah.
And please don't do what San Francisco did. Block Hassan Reddick to start the game because that wrecked the entire game.
Orlando Brown struggles with the whole blocking thing, but he's working on it. We're working on it.
The Philadelphia Eagles front four, Devon, only had 70 sacks this year. It shouldn't be a problem at all. I mean,
we got that under control.
They only have the top pass defense in the NFL again, but the Chiefs, you got to think about this. The only team since 1947 that started the season playing 8 teams in a row with a winning record. The Chiefs are battle tested. They've been there before, and I think it's a 50-50 game at the end of the day. And we get Rihanna at halftime. We got to think about that. That'll be good. And that's a good thing. And again, the book, I'm going to hold it up again.
It all adds up.
It all adds up, and hopefully it all adds up to a Chiefs victory, and maybe it'll all add up to Devon doing a podcast with us at Starcade Media. We don't have money, but we have a big following. You got to start somewhere, guys.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thanks
Absolutely. All the best, Devon.
Thanks so much.